Bob Smith out of Winchester, Virginia, one of the old pros on the circuit of four-wheel drive trucks. He was one of the sort of the founders of the four-wheel drive movement also, Mike, out of Winchester, Virginia.
Yeah, he was, Dave. Bob's been around a long time, and he's probably as tough as there is in this class.
Well, they call this truck the Three Bears Pulling Team, and the three members of the Smith family, his wife Sarah and their son Scott, they go all over the country. And boys and girls will enjoy seeing this truck because there's a big, about a 5-foot teddy bear in the passenger seat. Now we see the green light come on the sled, signifying that the weight transfer machine is all ready to go. The green flag will come out from starter J.J. Blum. And Mike, bring us down the track with Bob Smith.
Bob got a real smooth start off the starting line there, Dave. Doesn't seem to have any bouncing problem or anything. Looks like he's going to make a good, smooth, straight run.
All right, you can see the orange pylon in the bottom of the picture signifying the end of the track, and he makes a good straight pull, the distance 2:04 and 11. All right, Carrie Davis due up next. You can certainly tell that it's a Chevrolet. These guys are proud, and you can see what he's done. Is that a fuel tank out in front in the shape of a Chevrolet emblem, Mike?
Yeah, it is, Dave. Boy, that's a beautiful truck.
All right, Carrie Davis coming down the track. Now, everybody has positioned the sled in the center, but he's bouncing a little bit.
Well, that's a problem that the four-wheel drives encounter sometimes. If you don't get a good, smooth start off the starting line, that bouncing becomes a real problem.
Carrie Davis at 2:05 and 3. Oh, Mike, I love the looks of this truck. Now, we've just had a development from Trackside. They are going to completely restart the 5800 four-wheel drive trucks, and that's going to bring up Bud Jeske out of New Berlin, Wisconsin, with his Dodge. And this will be our first look at a Dodge here this evening.
Yes, Dave, the sled was just a little bit heavy, so they lightened it up just a little bit to get him down the track a little farther. And, of course, Bud's a national champion in this class, so he ought to be a good test pull.
And this has got an awfully big motor in it as well.
Yes, it does. It has a over 500 cubic inch Arius racing engine in it.
This will be an all-aluminum block motor?
Solid aluminum. No water jacket or anything.
Any idea on the cost of a machine like this?
Oh, I'd say probably close to $30,000 just in the motor.
Oh, my word. All right. Well, I tell you, they can spend a lot of money. Here he comes now. We restart the class, and he's making a smooth run. Bouncing. Oh, he's starting to bounce a little bit bad, but he smooths out the run. The Meister Brow Special coming right down the right-hand side of the track. Well, you can see he is training, going for all he's got. Heading right for the end of the track, and he's gonna, looks like it's going to be a
Looks like he made it out the end.
Wasn't that a nice run for the Meister Brow truck right down the right-hand side of the track. Bud Jeske from the Badger State of Wisconsin. You see him unhooked. There's the checkered flag. It's a full pull. The Ford fans will like this one, Mike. Jim Greiner from Georgia running a 67 Ford. Here's a former tractor puller, now turned four-wheel drive truck puller. Why would a guy want to do that?
Well, I really don't know what his reasons are. Maybe it's just a little more economical to pull a truck. It's kind of expensive to keep a tractor going, especially Jim used to pull a Super Stalker, and they're about the most expensive.
Well, he's making a smooth run here, but it looks like his short wheelbase is hurting him a little bit.
There's really no substitute for the length, and with the leverage involved, you have to have the length to really be competitive.
Jim Greiner out of Georgia, and the distance comes up to 2:03 and 6. Bob Smith now backing up to the sled from Winchester, Virginia. This is his second hook. Of course, we restarted the class. He's got to have a full pull, though, to tie Bud Jeske right now.
Yeah, he's going to have to make a good, strong run to get her out the end.
Well, you're running a pretty big Chevrolet motor against this big Aries engine. He comes off the line now. Another smooth run straight down the middle of the track, but he's got to get right after it. The 40,000-pound weight transfer machine, the box is moving up the rails, and he begins to slow down a little bit. You can see the teddy bear right there, and he's going to come up a little bit short at 2:04 and 11. Bob Smith from Winchester, Virginia. All right, Howard Lewis now out of New Carrollton, Maryland on the Eastern Shore. Here's a guy that's really come up in the NTPA ranks the last couple of years and was certainly a top champion this past year. Howard Lewis with another Chevrolet. Chevrolet dominates this class, basically, but that doesn't mean that they always win, Mike.
Well, Chevrolet's a pretty popular body style, but they don't always have a Chevrolet engine in them. But in Howard's case, he does.
Now, that's a good point that you bring up. The rules say that you can run a different make of engine. High roller now coming down the track. He's bouncing a little bit. That's to be expected, I believe. You see the dirt piling up in front of the buckboard on the sled, and he's going to spin out. Howard Lewis from New Carrollton, Maryland with an 86 Chevy at 2:11 and 9. Jerry Carlton now out of Manaway, Ohio. That's up near the Cleveland area of the Buckeye State, running a 1985 Chevrolet van. And this is our first look at a van here in this evening's competition. Now, Mike, it looks like he's got a blower sticking through the hood.
Well, the four-wheel drives cannot run superchargers or turbochargers. They just run fuel injection, but they take the end-relay injection off the top of the supercharger, and it just kind of adds a little bit to the appearance of the vehicle.
All right, you can see the butterflies open up. Oh, my word, he gets off to a rough start there.
Just didn't come out of the hole the way he wanted it, Dave. It started to hop on him a little bit, and if they stop before the 75-foot mark, they can back up and have a second try.
All right, now they're going to pull him back. Now, let's just watch this here a moment as the sled is going to pull the truck back to the starting line, and J.J. Blum giving them instructions. The sled is motorized, so the sled can go back to the line by itself. We don't have to use a pullback tractor. This is going to be his second attempt. Now, Mike, what are the rules concerning a second attempt? How far can he go before he's disqualified?
Well, the pullers get 2 attempts to make it by 75 foot, but when you back up for your second attempt, if you move the sled 1 inch and stop, that's it.
All right, looks like they're doing a little work out there on the track. This is called track building by some of the helpers on your own team.
Knocked down a couple piles of dirt.
All right, he didn't make that much, didn't have that many problems, we should say, out on the track, so they didn't have to bring down the blade and the roller. So we'll pick it up right from here as the blade goes off the track here with one of our Case International tractors. And the sled is all ready to go. As soon as that green light comes on, they're motioning off the tractors. Track work, but grading and packing the track is very important.
Yes, it is, Dave. We try to make sure that the track conditions are the same and equal for every puller in the class.
All righty, so everything is riding on the line right here as the final blade and the roller comes down the track. Now it looks like they're bringing everything down the track to pack it and grade it down. They wanted to give him a little bit more fair chance to make his good pull. Remember, he needs a full pull to tie, and this is the official hook. That first one did not count, but if he only goes 5-6 inches, well, let's hope he goes a lot further than that. Now you see the green light on Ron Hickson's sled from southwestern Pennsylvania, and Jerry Carlton comes off the line out of Manaway, Ohio. Boy, he's bouncing.
Still jumping on him real bad.
He could break something awfully bad here. He could break a drive line, and that's just not the kind of run you want to make. And a very, well, I was going to say a poor pull, but just not a good run in his eyes. Jerry Carlton from Manaway, Ohio, 83 Chevy van, 166 and 5. Here we go. Everybody's favorite, I think, Mike, not only because he drives a Ford truck for the Ford fans, because he's just such a likable guy. Tony Osteen, the farmer from West Green, Georgia.
I'll tell you, Tony's done real good at Super Pull over the past years, Dave.
He's had several wins in the last couple of years. Here he comes, heading right down the track. Well, this Ford is really cooking now. Got a big Ford engine in there. He's got to have a full pull to tie.
Good, smooth run.
Oh, listen, he's cranking it. Going to come close, and Tony Osteen is going to be a little short at 224 and 1. Also from Winchester, Virginia, what many consider the four-wheel drive truck pulling capital of the country, Willie Umsnow, also in an 85 Ford. And I'll tell you, here's a guy that's got a shot. He would have to be one of the pre-pull favorites.
Boy, I'd say those truck pullers out of Virginia are really tough.
Well, I'll tell you, beautiful country where he comes from, down in the sort of the northern part of the Shenandoah Valley where they grow a lot of apples. And here he comes now with the Ford. It's got to be smooth. It's got to be long. It's got to be powerful. And we see some smoke coming out of the engines a little bit, Mike.
Just might be overfueled a little bit, but he's still making a good, smooth run.
Didn't have a lot of speed as he came down the track. Willie Umps from Virginia with his 85 Ford, 210 and 11. All right, Mike Johnson driving for the Johnson brothers out of Perry, Oklahoma. His brother Scott watching from the sidelines. Mike, this is a new S10 Chevy, brand new truck for 1987.
It's a real competitive truck. They've lengthened the wheelbase out on it a little bit, Dave, and these guys are one of the toughest in the class, without a doubt.
They call it the Oklahoma Showdown. Here he comes now. They're in the oil business, but it still looks like the oil business is good in Oklahoma. Here they come, running right down the track. They're hauling the mail, so to speak. They're moving. Oh, no.
Oh, looks like the rear end is pulling there, Dave.
Boy, that's not what you want to have. You can see the end of the track there. They came close, and they've broken something underneath.
Yeah, they were still moving good when something let go in the rear end of the truck.
Their distance, 2:16 and 3. And we're going to watch it now. Here he comes again now as he comes off the line. The Oklahoma Showdown.
Good speed coming down the track.
Well, they were also one of the pre-pull favorites. They were expecting to make a full pull. There we see it again as they break. We're getting word now from trackside that they have broken just about the entire drive line.
Yeah, the drive shaft started to come out from underneath the truck, Dave, but the safety equipment held it in place. But it looks like they may have taken the ring and pinion out of the rear end.
Well, they're going to come up short at 2:16.3. The Johnson brothers out of Oklahoma. Oh, Mike, this is a bad day for the boys from Oklahoma. They've got the forklift out there to pick up the rear end.
Yeah, that's serious, Dave, when they have to pick you up and carry you off the track. You can see the front of the drive shaft hanging down there, and the rear end of the truck's locked up, so they'll have to lift it up and carry it off
Now,
the
is
track.
this something they can fix overnight?
I would imagine they probably will.
Don't forget, this weekend only. Subscribe to the NTPA Puller magazine, $14.95.
In his first time ever to compete at the Indy Super Pull, here's Jerry Weaver now from Thornville, Ohio. That's just east of Columbus, Ohio, the Buckeye capital, running a 1985 Chevrolet. And, Mike, this guy would like to win, of course, because his truck is sponsored by Nationwide Auto Parts, and, of course, the event is sponsored by Nationwide as well.
Yeah, I've seen Jerry run a couple times last summer, Dave, and he's just super strong.
Well, Jerry Weaver was out of pulling for a couple of years.
Yes, he was, and he used to pull for the Sting pulling team, I believe, out of Pickerington.
That was a very famous team in the Buckeye State, and now he comes back. His first hook ever at the Indy Super Pull. Here he comes. And you can see it looks like a very smooth run. He's getting some high RPMs out of that motor, screaming that engine.
Screaming that engine, definitely.
And he's going to come close. Looks like it's going to be about 222 feet as the laser gives us the measurement. Hollywood, Florida's Glen Davis driving a 1986 Chevrolet. He has a good time out on the NTPA circuit, not only pulling his truck, but looking for eligible girls because he's a bachelor. Glen Davis now pulling his Super Pull. This is not his first time here. He's always had very consistent runs, and he's getting hooked up there. The green light is on the weight transfer machine. Now you see this tire start to roll. He went a little bit to the right, trying to even out the truck, and he might have lost a couple of feet, Mike.
He could have. Might have been trying to get around someone else's tracks.
Coming real close right down to the end of the track, but he's going to come up short. Glen Davis from Florida, 2:10.8. Earlier in this class, Greg Cook out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, made a full pull with his wild blue 1987 Chevrolet. And along with Bud Jeske, it'll be Jeske and Cook in the pull-off as Greg backs up to the sled right now. He'll be first out. They've added more weight to the sled. Normally, about how much more weight will they add to the sled bike for a pull-off?
Well, it kind of depends on how fast they were going out the end. In the case of these four-wheel drives, they were just making it across the end of the track. So they may not have even added any weight to the sled. They may have just blocked the box ahead a few inches, just enough to keep them from going out the end the second time.
All right. Well, they just made those full pulls by a couple of feet the first time. Jeske and Cook, we had 12 in the class. 2 made it out. This is the nitty-gritty time of tractor and truck pulling. This is for all the money. Here we go now. Greg Cook coming down the track. Got a smooth run going. Got a lot of speed up. The flags are flying. The dirt is churning. And he's going to get everything he can out of it. Greg Cook winds up at 2:13.6. And now it's on the back of Bud Jeske from Wisconsin to try to beat him. The body goes down now on the Dodge truck of Bud Jeske out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. And this is for all the money. He's got to beat 213 feet and 6 inches. Greg Cook is in the lead right now with his 87 Chevy. Now, Mike, what do you think Bud Jeske and his son Steve are really looking for out on the track?
Well, Dave, they're going to have to get a good smooth start off the starting line. He's going to have to build his speed smooth and even as he comes down the track to get enough momentum to carry him by Greg Cook at the other end.
All right. Would you say that he has enough power in the truck to do it?
Yeah, I don't really think horsepower is one of his problems, but getting the horsepower to the ground in a smooth fashion, that's the trick.
All right. Now, when they bring that sled back to the starting line after a guy has made a run, do they try to straddle his tracks or find a new area on the track to pull from?
It's up to the puller's discretion. He has the right to spot that sled anywhere he wants on the starting line. He can aim it towards his boundary line if he figures that's the side of the track that he wants to run on.
Well, it looks like he's on our left or the driver's right now as he gets ready to hook to the sled. They drop the chain, hook up the kill switch, and the flag officials go out in front of the truck. He now pulls up to a tight hitch. So he's got to beat 213 feet and 6 inches. Greg Cook in the lead. Bud Jeske ready to race, ready to pull, ready to put the hammer down. This is for the #1 spot at the Indy Super Pull 14 in the 5800 four-wheel drive. The green light is on the sled. Let's watch those butterflies open up as they suck more air into that injection system with this big Aries motor that's got all kinds of horsepower. Here he comes now. Mike, let's follow it down the track.
He made a real smooth start out of the hole, Dave. Got good speed at mid-track. Of course, the sled's starting to slow him down now, but
let's watch for that flag over on the left. He has just passed the flag. He comes very close to making another full pull. Not quite enough. The winning pull, 2:28 and 8. And Bud Jeske out of Wisconsin wins his first class and his first run ever at Super Pull in the 5800 four-wheel drive. Bud Jeske now, another look. This has got to be a high point in his pulling career. He's won many pulls across the country, and what a smooth run, Mike.
just an excellent pull all the way down the track.
Well, he ran close to that line on the right-hand side. You can see the sled coming past the checkered flag as he pulls off the track, and the crowd gives him a big ovation. Bud Jeske, congratulations, 2 in a row, and I don't think this has ever happened, especially with a Dodge driver.
Oh, it was just so neat. I guess the neatest part of it was my wife wasn't here last night and couldn't enjoy our win and sharing it, and you know, we're tickled that the Dodge could come through. We're kind of now, you know, not the popular as the Chevy and Ford, but it's fun to kind of be the underdog and be able to run that strong.
All right, well, did you change anything here in this class compared to the earlier class?
Just a little bit. We just changed gearing just slightly, and I think the track loosened up just a bit that we probably wouldn't have had to, but you know, as it worked out fine.
What was your strategy in the pull-off? From where we stood, it looked like you went down the sideline of the track.
I guess we just were going to go someplace different, you know, different than Howard went, so that we didn't follow his tracks, hoping for a little better roll. We hit a little rough spot in the middle, but it stayed there, and it came on, you know, and it just it held it so well, so it hooked good.